I'm sharing my screen. Okay, let's see. We have added till controller. So we have implemented employee controller here, employee controller, and employee controller auto-wide employee service. And here we are calling service method and get this controller in your servlet. Already we are loading Spring XML file here, created application context object. Using that application context, get employee controller object, then call employee controller dot your post method. Just give the same employee object which is having name, email, address. So it will be posted here. And as a return also you'll get employee object. Okay, with the ID, including ID. Just I'm printing that ID. Employee with ID, just employee ID printing created successfully. So far done, right? So far code is done. And this Spring XML file, we are loading Spring XML file here. I have not added before, but now I created while you are offline. So Spring XML file also added here, and calling context component scan base package name com.rbu.start. And one more thing, employee.hbm.xml file, right? Here I added generator increment. Actually, auto is in annotations. Same thing here is increment. In annotations, we use auto. Here it is increment. Okay. So let's use increment here. It will use max ID technique only. So let's start this server. Finish it. Employee management system code is being executed. So server is starting. If you see here, oracle.cfg.xml file is loading. Some log you can observe. It is showing mapping files, which mapping files it is reading, and configuration file which is loading, right? From Hibernate, it is showing in the logs. So it is using something archaic dialect. Some warnings it is giving. And using default transaction strategy, no transaction manager lookup configured, automatic flush during, before completed disabled, automatic session close at the end of transaction is disabled. Something, a big log it is giving. Connection release mode automatically, default batch size 1. Okay, the default log it is printing. And a table found, already executed one time. Table is created, so it is showing table also found, and the column names also it is getting. The table contains address, name, ID, salary, blah blah blah. Okay, now let's insert some data. You got a form, so here you put some data. Register employee ID with 1 created successfully. So if you see here, select max ID from this table, it is showing. Where is the insert query? I don't see insert happen. No data found. So I understand the reason is transactions not created or automatic transaction we need to configure. In JDBC always set auto commit is true. Here here it will not commit automatically until unless you set auto commit to true. So what you can do here, For every method, right, here you can add session dot begin transaction. You'll get a transaction object, and you need to do what after your save, right? Transaction dot begin and transaction dot commit. So you need to commit your transaction, whichever save, right, that need to be committed into database. So let's keep it on every method. For now, we are testing save method, right? So let's apply it for only save and run it. And internally, if you see, it is using max ID strategy only. Max ID strategy it is using, right? Which one we used before, right? Hopefully, application getting started. Fine. Now again, just to re-execute the same form, ID generated one successfully. This time I can see insert query. Earlier, whenever I did not start a transaction, insert also not applied because Hibernate understand that okay, he did not upload any transaction, so we need not to commit it. But whenever I started transaction and created it, it understand that okay. So developer is saying insert this data at any cost. So it is begin the transaction, inserted data and committed it. So now definitely your data should be there in database. So the data got inserted here. But internally which technique it is using? max ID. We got problem with max ID with the JDBC. Let's see, we get the same kind of issue here or not. Let's check it using our favorite ng http 9090. Let me share it with you. Employee management system. Okay, let's test it. Send some data. I'll say 123, then send it. Okay, I shared the link. First open and fill it. Okay, everyone please open and fill it. Don't submit it. Open and fill data. We will see at a time. Okay, we will insert many records and we will see how it is working. Okay, are you all ready with the data? One, two, three. Submit. Okay, this is your intentional issue. 100K you entered, integer will not accept it. Somebody entered that, right? So that's a bad input. Apart from that, I don't see any other error. Maybe you submit many records. So your data got inserted and ID is also generated for you. See, no issue I'm seeing from max ID technique also. Still, you can use sequences in real time. Mostly we use sequence concept here. Okay, sequences we configure. I'll show you that. Here instead of this custom sequence you can create and you can configure that also. Sequence generator. If you go through my videos, I clearly explained how to use each generator there. Okay. Yeah. So I think it is working fine. Okay. This is working fine. Same thing, same DAO, right? Instead of writing this much large code, right? This much code, we can use here Hibernate template also. Hibernate template. Okay. Let me write one more class employee DAO with the Hibernate template. Hibernate template. The second approach, right? Simplest one. We can use Spring Hibernate template with Hibernate instead of core Hibernate session factor, right? We can use Hibernate, a simple class like JDBC template. How JDBC template reduced a lot of lines code. Similarly, here you have a lot of lines. If you see Hibernate template, here, right, you need to auto Hibernate template. How you will get Hibernate template? Here you should create one more bean, which is Hibernate template. Create Hibernate template. So just what you need to do, create Hibernate template object, new Hibernate template. So there you need to give session factory input. So call create session factory method so that that bean automatically will be passed here, injected automatically here. Now you can return Hibernate template. Same like your JDBC template. Use this Hibernate in your DAO class. Use this Hibernate template in your DAO class. Just auto write it. Now see, we are writing this many lines, right? Instead, I'll reduce this code. Instead, what I can do, I'm removing all this using Hibernate template dot save method, pass your employee object. That's it. In return, the save method will return primary key. Employee dot set ID. That's it. No open session, no close session, no begin transaction, no commit transaction. See, using simple single line statement, we executed it. So that's where template classes will help us a lot. Hibernate template dot update. First, it will update your object. For delete, Hibernate template dot delete one-liner statements. Hibernate template dot for selecting one record, get method. Same get you can use here. For selecting many records also, Hibernate template dot I think query method here. Find by query find, just find. Okay, directly it is giving list. Even you need not to, when you need not to get the query. Directly it is returning list object. We can return that. One liner statements, all are. So this template class avoided lot of code, whatever you name it, boilerplate code or XYZ code. So it avoided all that code whichever we used to write, opening sessions, closing sessions, and it made it simple. All that code they have taken care under these methods. Obviously, end of the day, Hibernate template will do the same job internally. It will open session, it will begin transaction, it will save record, it will commit your transaction, it will close session. All that it will take care, and always it will ensure that perfectly it will execute. So, as a developer, when you write that old kind of code, this kind of code, you may see problems. Like earlier, we forget to apply transactions, so we failed. Sometimes, if you try to forget, or if you forget closing sessions and all, it will create resource leakage issues. So, but that won't happen here. It made everything simple. So, using it is complex means nothing. Just you need to create template and you need to pass your session factory, and this template you should auto-ware in your DL bus. So configure this template in your service class and test it. Employee service with this new DL. That's it. Run this and test it. So once it is started, right, I'll ask you to insert. Can you please try inserting? So application started. If you guys have data, submit it. Okay, application is available. Please submit some data. We will see. Okay, two records got inserted. Earlier, how many records we have here? 6 only. Now let me see. Do I have more than that count? Same 6 records only. Which means your data is not committed. Using Hibernate template, but data is not committed. So to ensure data committed always, what I can do here is in configuration class, maybe I'm trying it, okay. Session factory dot or in configuration somewhere I believe we have a property. Somewhere we have a property. No, to set auto commit. Auto commit, right? There is a property. Let's set auto commit. We do right same way. Okay, there is a property actually. In Arcil configuration file, we can do that. Okay, so let me find that property. So what is that property? During Hibernate template, I'm not applying any begin transaction because I don't have control over session. Okay, just can I do it? Hibernate template dot begin transaction. No such, right? Commit. Oh, flush commit we have. What is this? Variable declaration to this. No. Let's see. there should be some property. Set auto commit on in Hibernate. Yeah. Why Hibernate connection.auto commit is true, not recommended in Hibernate. All database statements are executed with the context of physical transaction, even that don't specifically we don't declare the transaction boundaries. Okay. So you can set auto commit to true. No worries. So this is the property. Hibernate dot connection dot auto commit equal to true. Where do we need to do? Under Hibernate configuration. All this stuff they made it simple in Spring. In one place, we can keep all that configurations. Connection dot auto commit. Let's set it to true. Let us wait. Run, 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 run. Let me try this. Okay, I will set my data. Register. ID 7 generated successfully, showing to me. Ah, it got inserted. Now you guys can try. So transactions are auto committing. Maybe you keep that same property without to begin commit transactions. You can, yeah. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. So for that you need to apply global transaction. Locally it is taking care. See, if generally if you go into the context where your DAO class having multiple CRUD operations, but do you see DAO, is this DAO having multiple CRUD operations or each method having single CRUD operation? Single CRUD, right? So what is the point applying transaction if you have single CRUD? When you have multiple DML operations, then you should apply. But each method holds a single transaction only. Either it may go commit if everything is good. If everything is not good, obviously it will fail. So then no point applying transaction here. But yeah, what I'm telling is Hibernate transactions really not required here because always your DAO classes will have single execution only, whichever methods you write. But you should get the control over these methods. When from business class I want to save few records. At the same time, from my business class, I want to update few records and I want to delete few records from my service class. So from here, when you have multiple DAO calls, let's say I want to call save method as well as I want to call update method, I want to call delete methods. There are a lot of methods calls I have here. In that case, you need transactions to get the transaction control. We will use at the rate transaction here. So this will manage everything. This is the global transaction. This is later for the transaction which we do it in locally. So this transaction will control that. Even if you put commit here also, even if you put commit here also, it will not win. End of the day, your at the rate transaction and annotation will control this one also. Okay, globally we will handle them. On top of these local transactions, we will be applying a transaction manager. That manager will watch each and every DAO method. If everything went well, it will say okay, let's commit. If not, it will say let's roll back. In that case, this commit will not apply. Okay, though you have configured it, it will not. It is not applied. Okay. Okay. So I think the data is getting inserted perfectly with no issues, no errors, and the coding also become simple and easier to us. Hibernate template. See, so far we traveled from basic core JDBC to till Hibernate template with the framework support. See how they made our life simple here, easy. No SQL. I'm not seeing any SQL query. No SQL, nothing. With single line statements, I can able to execute, save, update, delete. Apart from this, there are so many other features. Yeah, obviously, if you're, that is what I'm saying. Uh, for especially banking applications, if you see, they will have a lot of earlier they used to execute so much business on database only, not on the middleware. On the database side itself, they used to execute business logic using stored procedures. Okay, and those now they are moving. That becoming maintenance. Difficult. Earlier they used to find Arkel developers, so they used to deploy them. Nowadays it became difficult to them to find them and to manage all that procedures stuff. So slowly, they are moving towards a middleware like Java or .NET. So existing procedures they are continuing by integrating from Java, and new business logic adopting into Java layer only. Okay, so definitely you will be having both. For old, you may continue with the procedure calls. For new, maybe you may write your own business from Java side. I worked almost 4 years on one bank client. All procedures function stuff only. All bulk inserts, everything we used to have in procedures. So we used MyBatis uh, instead of this. That is also one OR like Hyper. In MyBatis, they give a lot of support for the procedure calls and configuration stuff. So we use that particularly there. Yeah. So, but nowadays for microservices and all stuff, the you know, everything got changed. Not much database dependencies we have. So we always have plain CRUD operations. Don't think too much or worry about procedures and all. Okay. If you get opportunity, it's okay. Procedures or functions, they are not too different from your Java. The syntax, functions looks similar to your Java only. Easily you can adopt. Okay. I think that's it for today. We will start MVC from Monday. Okay. MVC architecture mainly will focus on architecture and on the examples I'll give. If you want to go through all MVC examples also available in our blog, but I don't recommend you to go with that old approaches. Okay, we'll see few examples with complete end-to-end annotations. Okay, with this Hibernate templates concept. Okay, and one more step, right? Without these configurations, complete annotations, I'll show you. We can avoid these two files also. I can remove these two files, and this rkill cfg configuration I can do within XML also, Spring XML, or completely I can remove this. Directly I can write code in configuration itself. I'll show you that. So which we use mostly in real time, right? That end-to-end example in MVC I'll give you. Okay.